Mr. Zainal Sapari.
Question 8, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, performance differentiation is widely practiced in both the public and private sectors. It recognizes individuals who do well in fulfilling the mission and objectives of the organization. As performance evaluation involves qualitative judgment by supervisors, the Singapore Civil Service, like many large organizations, practice cross-department ranking. A teacher's performance is assessed by his or her own supervisor and then cross-ranked against his or her peer by a ranking panel comprising direct and indirect supervisors. This way, stronger performing teachers are identified and recognized, while weaker ones are provided developmental opportunities to improve. In addition, it also helps to moderate differences in the supervisor's assessment and establish common standards of performance. Besides their individual performances, teachers are assessed holistically across many different areas, like how they work and collaborate with others and contribute to the learning of their peers. In addition, teachers are also expected to be able to deliver effective teaching and pastoral care, support students in their character development, and interact well with them. MOE seeks to develop a culture of professionalism and a strong sense of mission in our teachers. The appraisal system is but one of the many tools used to achieve this. We encourage teachers to pursue various professional development opportunities, from formal programs to informal support through network learning communities and mentoring arrangements. To spur teamwork, our schools give out outstanding contribution awards every year in recognition of school staff who collaborate successfully to make outstanding contributions to the school community. The President's Award for Teachers bring out excellence in teaching and is the highest honor bestowed on teachers for professionalism. We will continue to develop and improve our teachers' skills and expertise to deliver a student-centric and values-driven education, and in so doing enhance our students' learning and growth.
Mr. Zainal Sapari.
Deputy Speaker, there's been a lot of debate on the merits of forced ranking. Judge Welch, who started forced ranking in his company, General Electric, it would be good to know that General Electric has done away with forced ranking. Given the debate on the merit of performance ranking, would MOE consider doing away with forced ranking and instead raise education officers' salaries to ensure their substantive grade commensurate with their official appointment, and also adopt a criterion-based appraisal for performance? Thank you.
I want to thank the member, Mr. Zainal Sapari, for his passionate plea and also his supplementary questions. Allow me to reassure him that MOE will continue to fine-tune our appraisal system with the focus on supporting the development opportunities and potential of our teachers. Now, I think while there are debate about the pros and cons of ranking, I think it has proven that ranking imposes objectivity, fairness, rigor, and discipline in the appraisal system. It also differentiates officers' performance relative to the peers and helps to establish common standards of performance amongst supervisors. And I just want to give an example. In recent years, for example, majority of, and in fact more than 80% of our principals are being remunerated according to their substantive grade.
Dr. Intan.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I have two supplementary questions for the Senior Pol Sec. One, appraisal, as in any form of assessment, has to be both formative and summative. At the moment, I think our appraisal system is quite summative. Are there plans to get teachers to have teacher mentors or buddies so that a more formative approach to their appraisal can be done throughout the year before the final assessment for performance bonus or promotion? The second supplementary question is this. Would the ministry consider also getting feedback from students as well as parents on how teachers perform, rather than just based on peer assessment among teachers and their reporting supervisors? Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Intan for her supplementary questions, and I want to assure her that the annual appraisal is not a static one. In fact, the development of our teachers, 30,000 of them, is really key to achieving our goals in education for our students' development. And in order to help our 30-plus thousand educators improve their skills, we indeed use several avenues for our educators to receive feedback. Just to give an example, rather for appraisal, the 360-degree feedback mechanism is used as a development tool to gather all-round feedback. And in so doing, we seek to help our teachers and also supervisors learn to give each other feedback and also learn to receive feedback in a very constructive manner through daily interactions and not only at the point of appraisal. And I'm quite sure a lot of the members in the House, we are parents, and I think we have different apps, whether it's Class Dojo, Snap, etc., for us to give inputs and feedback to teachers and also to the school leaders. So actually that avenue is open to the parents as well.
Ms. Denise Pua.
Thank you, SPS. I'd like to ask SPS's help to ask the public service HR function to consider doing away the forced ranking system for several reasons. Number one, as my colleague Mrs. Apari has mentioned, a lot of progressive companies have actually done away with such performance evaluation systems. Number two is we know the consequence, there are some negative aspects of forced ranking in that there are instances, or quite a lot of instances, where employees get pushed up in terms of their ranking, sometimes because of their supervisors being very vocal, able to speak up for them at ranking sessions. And also, there's some jobs where, or some staff who are actually more visible in terms of their work and the way they carry out their work. And so I would like to ask SPS to seek counsel and also advise the public service HR function to consider other ways by which evaluations can be performance evaluation can be done, and also rewards can be distributed. I also wanted to ask SPS to consider asking the Minister of Education and the Ministry if they could do away with such award schemes like the Outstanding Teacher Award, because out of the many thousands of educators, for example, in this instance, there are many who actually do very well, and it's really quite difficult to finalize a list of educators who should be honored. In fact, the race, to run a race whereby only a few win the trophy might be a race that I think Minister has been asking for us not to run, but to run actually races where as many as possible can meet the finish line, achieve the finish line, and as many as possible can meet good or great performance standards. For your consideration, please.
I want to thank our member of our GPC Chair, Ms. Denise Pua, for her supplementary questions and also her suggestion. Now, I want to assure all the members that MOE continue to look at what are the performance appraisal system that's practiced by other organizations. And we do know that each appraisal system comes with their pros and cons. Now, in relation to the original PQ, the question is whether can we do away with ranking and do an assessment based on the job type. And we have looked at that, and currently, MOE follows the civil service, which is to conduct performance ranking for officers of the same substantive grade. And we have 30-plus thousand educators. We certainly want to do so in a manner that's fair and just, and that recognizes the efforts of our passionate teachers. So just allow me to explain why currently this appraisal system is deemed as a fair assessment. I'll give you a quick example. For example, if it's simply ranked by job function, job scope, and a newly appointed principal who has been promoted upwards from a VP to a principal based on job scope, but not yet moved up in substantive grade. If he or she is then compared, in terms of performance, compared to the rest of the principal, and some of whom will be very senior principal in higher grades, actually in so doing, the newly appointed principal the showing may well pale in comparison with the senior principals. So, and when this happened, obviously, then it's not a very good and fair way for us to measure the performance of the newly appointed principal. And this is really why, in this case, using this example, the newly appointed principal should actually be compared with his or her peers in the same substantive grade, and which is why we're doing such cross-ranking. And earlier on, Mr. Nispa said it also depends on whether the immediate supervisor is more vocal and whether or not the educator is doing certain project that's more visible. And this is why we, other than taking the inputs of the direct supervisor, we complement the individual assessment by the direct supervisor with also the views of the ranking panels, which will comprise of direct and also indirect supervisors who have worked with a broad base of educators to ensure that we arrive at a very fair and just assessment for our educators. And for your second suggestion about doing away with awards, in the last few years, MOE have reviewed many of these awards, and we try to strike a good balance to ensure that it doesn't inadvertently create unnecessary competition and pressure. At the same time, we also want to make sure there are also avenues for us to express gratitude and recognize the efforts of our teachers.